Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabansi. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a pretty interesting show for you guys. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. And also, if you guys want to follow me on Instagram, my handle is CTABANZ, and also follow us there on Instagram on Dreamerspro. The name is Dreamerspro. You can follow us there as well. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about the NBA. Right? Let's talk about the NBA. I think training camp is kicking off this week. There have been some people on the channel asking us, hey, man, when are you going to talk about the NBA? When are you going to talk about the NBA? And I keep telling them, there's not really anything to talk about. What do you want me to talk about? Dwight Howard just did a tryout for the Golden State Warriors. They didn't select him. Non-story. Damian Lillard is still in Portland. Non-story. And then there's some other ancillary things taking place out there that I don't think anyone really cares about. But what we do know when the NBA season starts, however, is that regardless of what happens, one of the biggest storylines this season, as always, is going to be centered around LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers. You can just almost book it. The Lakers are a major cash cow for these networks, and people are going to talk about them. Obviously, the Lakers have fans all over the world. All over the world. This is no secret here. As a Kobe Bryant fan, trust me, I know. When the Lakers would travel to opposing arenas, you will see Laker fans littered all throughout the arena with their Laker jersey on. So I know that, right? Huge fan base. Anyway, this morning, I was doing some research and I came across an article from fadeawayworld.net that was centered on some comments that Earvin Magic Johnson, who's obviously Mr. Laker, the Laker legend, some comments that he had to make about the Lakers going into this season in terms of the expectations that he has for them. And as I was reading the article, I was quite surprised because Magic Johnson actually has some very, 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 very high hopes and high expectations for the Lakers this season. But before we even get into his comments, this video is brought to you by our brand new sponsor, Athletic Greens. AG1 is a convenient nutritional supplement with 75 vitamins, minerals, and whole food source ingredients that meet all of your foundational nutrition needs. Now, here's a quick personal story that I think that may resonate with a lot of you. I went to college in Italy, and actually that's where I met the co-founder, Dreamerspro Marco. And at that time, I was eating healthy whole foods, I was exercising regularly, and I was in the best shape of my life. Then life happened. I stopped exercising regularly. I started gaining weight because I wasn't able to exercise the way I used to and eat healthy the way I used to because I was moving around to different countries. And before I knew it, I couldn't even recognize myself anymore. So for the last 2 years, I've been really trying to focus on regaining my health and getting back in tip-top shape. However, the biggest challenge that both Marco and I are having right now is that although we try to get the proper nutrition and do the right things to stay in shape and to stay healthy, other commitments somehow get in the way of us doing this. And to be honest with you, we find it hard to get enough servings of fruits and vegetables and other types of healthy foods to ensure that we're taking the right vitamins and minerals that are vital for good health. So we both started to take 1 scoop of AG1 in the morning with cold water to ensure that we're getting all of the vitamins, minerals, probiotics, and fiber that we need in our diet to enhance our mental health, our physical health, and performance. And Marco, who's always skeptical about taking new nutritional supplements, found it to be reassuring that AG1 is used by top health experts and performers like Andrew Huberman and Lewis Hamilton. So if a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/dreamers. That's drinkag1.com/dreamers. Check it out. And remember, when you try AG1 by using the link in the description below, just know that you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So let me get into what some of this article had to say here. The Los Angeles Lakers worked very hard in reshaping their roster this summer, washing away the sins of the year and a half of Russell Westbrook on the roster. Magic Johnson is really excited and is coming into next season with expectations that no team in the West will be better than the Lakers. I think they're going to be the best this year. With the Westbrook era in the rear view, the Lakers can finally stick to what they know works, which is depth around LeBron James and Anthony Davis. The team was a contender before they had Russ and returned to contention after getting rid of Russ, but being a sub-500 team when they had the former MVP. The Lakers are going into training camp with a roster that not only features 2 superstars up top, but breakout talent Austin Reeves as well. With the re-signings of Reeves, D'Angelo Russell, and Rui Hachimura, along with the players they have acquired, the Lakers should aim to bring home a title this season, given LeBron is a free agent at the end of this season. The article then goes on to continue and say, I love what they did this offseason. You got to give Rob a lot of credit. I think right now he's the executive of the year, and what he was able to bring to the table. The biggest surprise was to me getting Gabe Vincent away from Miami. I thought that was going to stay in Miami because the guy proved that he could play this game there. So basically, Magic Johnson seems to have some high expectations of the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, let's get into some of the things that the Lakers did in terms of free agency this summer, right? Because I think it's important that we really touch bases on that, because really that's what's going to make a difference. What offseason moves did the Lakers pull off this season? And actually, before producing this show, we actually put up a poll where we asked our audience, going into this season, what team do you think has the best chance to win the Western Conference? We put the Clippers, the Lakers, the Suns, the Nuggets, and the Kings. Out of the 2,000 voters in less than an hour, about 3% of the voters are actually voting for the Clippers. Over 50% of the voters are actually voting for the Denver Nuggets, and another good majority are actually voting for the Lakers. So it seems like even though, the Lakers are making all of these moves, a lot of people still have confidence in the Nuggets, but I'll get to them in a second. Let's look at some of the things that the Lakers have been able to do this summer. They got Austin Reeves. They got him under contract. You guys know that. They got Rui Hachimura. They got him under contract. They got D'Angelo Russell. Some people were kind of iffy about that one, but they still got him for 2 years. They got Gabe Vincent, that was with the Miami Heat that Magic Johnson just spoke about. They have Cam Reddish, who's also going to be with the team as well. They have Taurean Prince, who's on a 1-year deal as well. You have Jackson Hayes, who's also on a 2-year deal as well. So that's what the Lakers were able to do. But obviously, it's not just about the Lakers, because if we're looking at the Denver Nuggets, and I know that a lot of people have voted for the Denver Nuggets, at least on this poll, to be the favorites to come out of the West, you have to also know that the Denver Nuggets they lost some key pieces in terms of their depth. They lost Bruce Brown. He went to the Indiana Pacers. That was a pretty big loss because he was an energy guy. He played with a lot of tenacity coming off the bench. He had a lot of grit, and he was a bit feisty coming off the bench, and he was like the Energizer Bunny. You need a guy like that in your second unit. They lost him. He's no longer with the team. Then, of course, they lost a veteran, Jeff Green. That's another position that they lost, a player that they lost, and they lost him to the Houston Rockets. So, yes, Denver, obviously, the incumbent is always going to have a lot of the momentum going their way. People are generally going to believe that the team that just won the championship obviously is going to have the best chance to win the championship, but that's not the only team out there, right? I think that one of the other teams that may be able to make some noise this season, I know a lot of people are going to be pissed off, and I understand that. I still think if the Clippers are healthy, they have a pretty good roster. They do have Kobe Brown. They were able to get back Russell Westbrook. They have Kawhi Leonard, who had a hilarious comment just the other day, or just today, about what he expects from what can you expect from Kawhi Leonard, the Clippers. He's like, I'm at the grocery store right now. You can expect me to serve you up, or something only Kawhi Leonard will say. They got Brandon Boston Jr. They got Bones Highland. Of course, they got him, point guard. They got Amir Kofi. He's been on that roster for a long time. They have Marcus Morris Sr. There have been some question marks around him, but they also got younger by getting Kenny Martin Jr. on the roster, power forward, athletic guy that can roll to the basket, a lot of activity around the rim. Of course, you have Terrence Mann, who's always been there, steady guy. You have Xavier Moon. Of course, you have Paul George, who recently had some comments, I guess, responding to some of the things that people like Devin Booker and others have been saying about him. Of course, you have Paul George as well. He's going to have some things to prove as well. You have Robert Covington, who I always like, 3-and-D guy, great length, great defender. You have Norman Powell, who could have been one of the candidates actually to win sixth man of the year. Very athletic guard, great player, great scorer, especially someone that can add to your depth. You have him as well. Of course, you cannot forget Ivica Zubac, the Clippers center, their best rebounder, plays solid, steady, fundamental basketball at the center position. I love that. Yes, he doesn't give you spacing, but I still love what he gives you as a fundamental big man. Of course, you have Nicholas Batum, who I always like. He's like the Swiss Army knife. He wasn't as good as I would have liked him to be last season, especially in the postseason, but he's always a player that I've absolutely loved. And they were able to get some versatility at the 5 spot by bringing in Mason Plumlee. So I think the Clippers are going to be there. Obviously, is going to come down to their health. Another team worth paying attention to, because remember, Magic Johnson has the Lakers as the favorites to come out of the Western Conference. We can't forget about the elephant in the room, which is the Phoenix Suns. I mean, how can you forget about the Phoenix Suns? The Phoenix Suns, although they were able to retain DeAndre Jordan, they still have him. They have Bradley Beal, which was a huge pickup. So the Phoenix Suns have a legitimate big three in Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, who was outside of his mind the last playoffs. And of course, they have Kevin Durant. Now, and they were also able to pick up Eric Gordon, who was a former Clipper, which I thought that was a pretty big pickup. Now, obviously, this team does have a big three. They have a legitimate big three, but the question is going to be around this team is obviously is going to be their depth. Are they going to have enough depth? That's going to be the question with the Phoenix Suns. You saw them in the playoffs. They had to play all of their top players 40 plus minutes just to be competitive in those series. You saw the series that they had against the Denver Nuggets. They had to play KD. I mean, they couldn't even sit him down, right? And that's a problem. It means that they don't have depth. Yes, they have Eric Gordon and all of that, so they were able to address that to a certain extent. But I think depth is going to be their issue. And then you have Bradley Beal on the court, who's a scorer. You have KD, who's a scorer, but he can play without the ball. And of course, you have Devin Booker. I'm still very curious to see how that entire dynamic is going to work. I guess we have to wait and see. But if I'm being honest about the Lakers' chances, I wouldn't be surprised if the Lakers actually make it at least to the Western Conference. I wouldn't be surprised, because I believe what we saw last season from the Lakers, especially at the second half of that season, I don't believe that was a fluke. I don't believe that was a fluke. They beat Golden State. They beat Memphis. Now, although Memphis was shorthanded, they didn't have Steven Adams and other key players. And of course, Memphis was busy trying to get into this tit for tat with the Lakers, and they beat themselves. So certainly the Lakers are not going to buy into that BS that they were trying to pull. But I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that, there's a definitive team that can come out of the way. I don't think so. I think Ja's going to be without his team for the vast majority of the games to start the season. So I don't see it as a clear-cut favorite, which I think opens up the path for the Lakers. Obviously, you still have to give the reigning defending champs the respect. You still have to beat the champs to become the champion. I totally understand that. And maybe out of respect, we need to give the Denver Nuggets maybe the favorites, peg them as the favorites to come out of the Western Conference going into this season. But I wouldn't be surprised about the Lakers. I would not be surprised. They got a group that works, that fits together. I think the biggest question about the Lakers is going to be health. But to be quite honest with you, that's the biggest question for every single team in the NBA. You can say the same thing about the Clippers. You can say the same thing about the Phoenix Suns. You saw that freak accident that Kevin Durant had, just going up at the layup line and then fell, and then boom, he got injured. So I think we have to wait and see, but I'm going to be very, very interested to see how these things pan out coming into this season. So what I want to know from you guys is, what do you think about what Magic Johnson had to say, and who do you think could potentially come out of the West? Although I know it's early, but who do you think could come out of the West this season? Whatever you guys think, leave your thoughts in the comments when we catch you guys on the next show. Peace.